in the last video, you may have noticed that this message, unable to create new user, stopped appearing when we did this render to new. And the reason why is pretty simple. If we look at our index view, that's where we displayed all our flash messages. We didn't display that flash message in our other ones. If I look at, the flash messages disappeared here. And in general, we want to show flash messages on any page that creates a flash message. So what we want to do is remove this code right here from this one page and put it in a place where it's going to show up for all of our pages that we create. And so I'm going to introduce a let's go 3D. A layout is what Rails calls it, a page that is a template for what the views look like in general. So it's in this directory, app, views, layouts, and in general, if you don't pick any layout, it belongs to this application.html.erb page. Oh yes, we do want to save that. And this is what the layout looks like. And it's got some header information and some footer information, and then this one item here that yields. And if you remember your Ruby, you know that yield is going to go to a block somewhere else. And so if you have the right code around this template, then it's going to insert into this spot the particular view specific information that we want. And so this is how you can indicate to the template where the view content goes rather than the standard boilerplate. So before we yield, let's go ahead and put our flash messages that we copied from before. So now on every page, we're going to examine what the flash object is. We're going to create a little paragraph that has that alert message, and then we're going to fill it with that view. So let's look at what that looks like in the browser, and we can look at that on both pages and make sure it stays there the way we want it to, and then we'll run our tests after we're convinced that that works correctly. So we are going to go ahead here, and we're going to first create a new user that we're happy with. So we're going to do testing 4, and give it a password off screen, and we see that flash successful, just like we wanted, where we wanted it, and then it disappears. And likewise, when we create a bad user, we get that flash message here, and we don't have the problem. This will keep reappearing. Now, one thing to note before, let's go back to the controller. There is a difference between this flash message and this flash message. It doesn't show up in the web browser, but I want you to know about it because it will come up later. In this flash message, we create the flash, and we need to remember it for the get that follows this redirect. In this message, we don't do a new get, right? We did a render rather than a redirect. So the flash message is available immediately. So if we did another get, this message is going to appear. Just to show you that, I'm just going to go back to the listing. This is another get, and that unable to create new user still shows up. And that error message was from before, but since flash always shows up on the next message, and the next message was a get to the listing, it showed up. So that is a problem, and the way that we get around that is we say that instead of sending this to the next message to appear, we're going to do it in now. So flash.now means for the current message, stick in its danger and don't have it show up on the next one. So let's go ahead and go back to our web browser. We will try to create a bad user again. We get that message, but now when we go back to the listings of all users, it disappears like it should have, because we didn't have an error in our last thing. We skipped that. So now we have a more general mechanism for being able to display any messages on any web page that we create because of our layout holding the template, rather than having to put in that loop in every single message and forgetting it, or doing a typo and having to fix it every time. So this is a better way. So finally, we're just going to double check that we haven't broken any test before we declare this refactoring complete. So the tests are run, and we see that they produce green throughout, just like we wanted, and so we have a nice refactoring done here.